Welcome. In this tutorial we're going to take our Flash movie that we created in a previous tutorial that's called Water Game, and what we're going to do is we're going to publish this into a series of files that then are readable on the web. We're going to upload those files to our FTP site, take a look at the live web pages. Then we're going to take the .swf file, which is the shockwave file or the Flash movie that is actually the readable instance of the interactive we created, and we're going to embed that into our WordPress blog. So the first step is from our previous Water Game series of tutorials. Here's our Water Game. What I'm going to do is click on File and come down here and publish that to the directory that it lives in. Right now what I have is a folder called Water Game, and in that folder I have my document, which my Flash document, watergame.fla, and we're going to publish the SWF and the HTML that we're going to utilize into this folder here. Couple notes: when working with files on the web, be sure to never put spaces in between words. When you publish your document, your FLA document, you're going to be creating a for web use SWF, and if you have a space in that file name, then when it gets on the web it will break. So you could use an underscore or a dash to replace a space. Also, it's good web etiquette to keep the names, all the words in the name of your file, lowercase. That way your users don't have to try to guess whether I said capital W or not. All lowercase is good convention. So once we're up to the convention, this fits because it's only one word, all lowercase. I'm going to go to File and Publish. Now let's look at that directory again, and when I look back in there, I see that not only do I have my WaterGame FLA, which is my editable Flash document where I can edit the action script and the layers and the timeline, I also get a WaterGame SWF, it's called a Flash movie here in XP, and a WaterGame HTML. Now on this HTML document, Flash auto-generated some embed code, an embed code that will call this movie and play it when these two are in the same place on the web. So now we have our Water Game directory. The next thing to do is to copy it up onto our server. Okay, now let's call up our FTP client. In this instance we're using FileZilla, and I've already connected to my server. Let me refresh. And now I see my Water Game file directory here on my desktop. I'm going to, for our class, I'm going to click right into my directory. There's the directory that holds my WordPress blog and all of the associated files. I'm going to right click and just create a directory here, and I'm going to name this Water Game. And inside this directory, I'll click inside there. I note that I'm in Skinner Water Game. I'm going to click in the Water Game directory on my desktop. I'm going to take the HTML file and hold my Shift button down, and the SWF file, and I'm just going to put those both right into this directory. You don't need to actually copy the FLA file. It's not readable by web browsers, and so unless you're archiving it on your web server, there's no need for that to go up there. Great, so now I have these live files. Let me jump over into a browser and give this a test on the web. Okay, and now I'm in my browser. I've got my full URL, which is the root of my server. And then I'm in the Skinner directory, which is the directory I'm using for my class files. I created a new directory called Water Game, and that's where I'm putting the project files for this interactive. And watergame.html is the page that has the embed code for my watergame.swf And let me call that up real quick, just so we can take a look. WaterGame HTML has the embed code. WaterGame SWF is the actual movie itself. So the location of this file on my server, when I look at the URL, is this. Now let's keep this open and note that I can give my game a test. And there we go. So the next step, now that I have this embedded on a web page, is that I don't want to embed it on its own web page separate from my content management system. So far in this course we've been building in WordPress, and what I would like to do is bring the interactive over into my WordPress environment. So I'm going to jump into my dashboard here for my blog, and we have to ask ourselves that question we've been asking ourselves throughout the course. Well, WordPress does not natively enable us to drop Flash code right into a post and just embed a Flash movie. So the question is there a plugin that will do that for us? And the answer is yes. There are quite a few plugins that enable us to drop Flash movies right into WordPress posts. And the way that we can enable that is to go to the Plugins menu, Plugins, and we go up to Add New. And let's search. Simple way to do it would be Flash Embed. I'm going to search for plugins. I find this Camille Flash Embed plugin is a quite good one. It's the one that came to the top of the surface. A number of folks have downloaded this, and for the purpose of our class, I'm just going to ask you to click Install Now. It asks you, are you sure? And say OK. And we're already installed. Go ahead and click this button here, activate the plugin, or another way to do that is to go to the plugins menu where we can see a list of all of our plugins, and I can activate or deactivate a plugin from here. So go ahead and click activate. Now FYI, when you install a new plugin, generally what happens is under the settings menu, I'll click on that, you then get the opportunity to you have a menu to edit the particular variables for that plugin. So here now we have one for our Camille Flash Embed. If I click on this, we can set some global preferences for this. For example, the default size and width, etc. For our purposes, we don't really need to do that now. To embed the Flash, all we have to do is create a new post. Click Posts. And I'm going to add a new one. Now note, when I add a new post, I now have a new button here that says Camille Flash Embed, and we're going to use that. I'm just going to name this post Flash Embed. And click down here into my post body and click this button, the Camille Flash Embed. When you do that, you get a pop-up menu, and here are the variables for a number of elements for embedding Flash. Flash version 8, that will work with what we've created. The dimensions for our movie are actually 550 by 400. And now we have to give the location of the SWF. You can upload this into your media library however you like, but what we did previously was actually manually upload our SWF and that HTML that was generated by Flash from our project to our class server. So that had a URL here, and we tested it and it worked. I'm going to copy this URL here and just paste it right into this Flash location. Now, we're not actually looking for the HTML, we're looking for the Swift file. So I'm just going to get rid of this, SWF. Recall that in that same directory as my HTML is the actual SWF, and that's what we need to give the location to for this Flash embed to work. So you need to have the pretty specific location of the Flash file. We've given it the whole location, which is always a nice way to do it, from my opinion, because you know you're telling Flash exactly where to call that Swift from. I'm going to click Generate now. And what happens is the plugin gives us a nice embed code with some specific Flash variables. All we have to do then is click Publish. And now let's go take a look at our site. I'm going to click here on the main blog page and look at my recent posts. Here's the Flash embed. And there it is. Here's the interactive in the body of a post. And it looks like it's working fine. So once you've created your Flash interactive, you can manually upload it to an FTP server and utilize that HTML code that Flash automatically generates just to give your interactive a test. Something like this. You can copy and paste the embed code from that page and paste it into other places. Note that with some newer versions of Flash, you might have some subsequent files that need to also be put up manually onto the server. You can also take your Swift file and embed that directly into a post. The only thing you need to know is the location, and you could even use the media uploader in WordPress to do that. But I think that's the end of the tutorial. We have a Flash movie embedded into our WordPress blog. So thanks for watching the tutorial.